Right. How's it going, everybody? My name is Trevor. I'm the owner and operator of Around the Pitch Bend, a indie rock, folk rock kind of business and production house. And today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through everything here that has to do with getting old mixes sounding much, much better. And you can also think of this as kind of what I would do for you if you kind of came to me with, where you're at currently, which may be okay, but you really, really wanted some improved, better sound from what you're currently, kind of where your skill set is at. A couple housekeeping things. I have a couple rabbits behind me. I used to run a rabbit rescue, and I love my rabbits very much. If you hear any thumping, I apologize. They're just not a huge fan of me talking, period. Or loud noises. They're prey animals. So, anyways, I digress. What we're going to do first is we're going to listen to the sound, the song itself, the original song, the way that I had it to where it was just way out of control. There was a lot going on. And then just look at kind of what we can do to improve on that sound. So I've done a lot of the back-end work already, so you don't have to watch me or listen to me make those big deletions, big changes, a lot of arbitrary A/B testing just to get to this point. So let's just listen to the song right now, and then we'll cover some notes that I have about it. Okay, here we go.
And impressed with these lies I profess. Run your mouth in front of me. Tell me just how hard life is for you. Like I just don't understand. Like the life I lived is pointless to you. Do you like my used car? Have I said too much? Have I gone too far? Do I impress thee? I could tell you right now it ain't like TV. My heart's an earthquake foundry. I never wanna hear you lie. I'd rather leave first and be denied. The kind of guy that comes on strong. I'm going all in, open heart, say ah. Open heart, say ah. I'm going all in, open heart, say ah. I'm coming all strong, say ah. Yeah, I know. Tell me what you want me to say. Tell me what you want me to do. Speak tongues like it's over now. I get loud when you fill the town. I get down when I disavow and disarm myself. I be nice when my guard is down. Play fair when I come around. I'm a tourist in a ghost town. I'm a tourist in a ghost town. tourist in a ghost town. I'm a tourist in a ghost town.
Okay, so that is the old mix. This is the first song from the first album that I ever released that had me singing on the regular. I had an artist thing that I did before this called Black Adam, no relation to the Marvel comic. I had no idea it was actually a thing when I came up with that name for the thing I was doing at the time. But this was the first like singer-songwriter stuff that I was doing. I don't know. What are we looking at here? So this song, the file itself says 2008 is when I came out with it. I believe it. I think it's about that. I've been using Reason for, like 20-something years, but this was just the first song on this album. Anyways, some notes that I would just touch on. There's no panning in this thing, like, at all. I hear stereo spacing in random instruments, like notably the piano, which I don't think it needs that stereo spacing. I think if you want an instrument to carry weight, like oomph, you don't need to literally push it so hard to get that result. You can have the illusion of strength while still carrying it in the mix. And I'll go over that a little bit more with you later on if it comes up while we talk here. Something that I did way back then is everything fought for the same frequency. So not only the same level, but the same frequencies. If you notice, if you're listening to this in a car or with headphones on, like I am, you hear basically a weak bass frequency. There's nothing there to really stand out, right? There's no variation. It's a second thought, right? Not even like a main importance. Which bass, I think that even if you're not doing stuff like pop or hip hop or whatever have you, like bass is still like probably the number one, to me anyways, just from an artistic standpoint, the number one thing to really carry a message and really carry a feeling. So when you don't use that or you underutilize that, you're going to hear it kind of how you heard it today here. So we're going to play around with that, flesh out a little bit more in different areas, and get those frequencies varied. I use Reason. This is the program that I use, and I've used it for like 20-something years. I've been using it since it was Rebirth, since it was Propeller Head, and now that it's Reason Studios. I'm not a sponsor of Reason. I don't know if I'd even promote it. I would if you're willing to drop down like $500 for the program outright. They have a subscription model as of 2022. I don't think that it should have a subscription model. I honestly think it's just a way for them to make a quick buck or something like that. It just doesn't feel right. And there are I've noticed a lot of things that as users we've wanted over the years that we just simply don't get. They're always behind on the curve and when it comes to stuff rolling out. For instance, we didn't always have the ability to drop vocals into this program. Just drop it in directly. Like I had to, it was very, very roundabout way in the old versions. I'm talking like before they came out with Record, which was the sort of the add-on program that you could buy separately with Reason, and then they merged those together into other later iterations. But it was just a pain to do. No longer, but it took a while to get there. While other programs were like, we've done that like a while ago. We're good. So that's that. Also, another thing, if you didn't notice, and I'm sure I have no doubt you did, was there was no pitch correction on the vocals. I was in the mindset when I made this song, was it 14 years? Oh God. about 14 years now. I had the mindset that pitch correction, auto tuning had no place in a song. I was so like, oh, high nosed, highbrow, hoity toity with that kind of stuff, and I'm not like that now. Like, I absolutely see the value in it and the importance of it, even if it was like blues, or if you were like a Bob Dylan type, where you don't have to be the greatest singer. You can just get a sound out of your mouth. And you know what? There's plenty of tricks and tools that we can do to make it sound a little better. And I'm not a fan of like going like to the nth degree. I think I think of like T-Pain as an example where like he's sort of known for like heavy auto tuning on things that he does in the hip hop realm. But like even with pop, like it's fine. And then what'll happen is like you'll listen to. You'll spend so much time listening to the individual vocal tracks from like the internet and like different websites, and just to see what it sounds like singular acapellas that were just soloed out from entire mixes. And then you listen and you see the kind of effects that go into it, and the kind of things that a producer or an engineer or whoever would do to make it sound good in the mix and sit better in the mix. And yeah, auto-tune or pitch correction or whatever you want to call it is one of those things. And it's not a problem. It really isn't. As long as it's not heavy-handed. Like in my realm, I would not do a heavy-handed pitch correction. And it's different, and I could be talking completely out of my ass, and it could be, whatever, but in my realm, in what I do, I don't go too heavy-handed with pitch correction unless it's an artistic decision, an artistic take that the artist would actually want to do. Everything had a heavy compression, and not in a good way. Everything was very much like trying, clawing, fighting itself to be the only thing heard in so many ways. And as a result, everything sounds crushed. Not even compressed, just crushed in the worst possible way. We don't want that, right? We want to play around with it. Even with like metal, which I don't listen to metal personally, but like there's a lot going on there. There's so much going on, and they're able to carry all those big sounds in a way that doesn't drown everything out and make it all sound sloppy and muddy. So we're going to explore that a little bit here. Everything just kind of feels very out of hand. I had modules, which they're not called VSTs in Reason, although Reason does accept VSTs and we can use them in there. I don't personally use VSTs. I just stick with whatever it comes with. Reason has this thing called rack extensions where others can make modules within the program itself. And I use those. I do use those. But, VSTs, I'm not dissing VSTs. They're totally fine. I like ease of mind. And I don't want like 1,000 windows up if I can help it. I know you can minimize those or whatever, but I like to see what I need to see to do the stuff I need to do. I don't know. It's just, I work in a weird way. I work in a very specific way. I'm just not big on VSTs, but I think otherwise they're great. Everyone uses them. And heck, maybe I will one day. Who knows? No problem with that. But that's kind of where I'm at with that. So things are cleaner here. I cleaned up from the old production setup that I had to a new current production setup that I use now. For much, much easier. I always say work cleaner if you can. Cleanliness is godliness, and that's the direction that I personally take myself. Another thing is, and I don't think I showed it here, but when the song plays in its entirety, it redlines to such a ridiculous decibel, beyond what we would ever use or need. I was in the mindset that, okay, if I look at, I use Audacity. I've been known to use Audacity, mix songs from AIF to MP3. And if I'm using Audacity, my original mindset is, okay, if I can see any kind of gap from the peaks of the sound, of the wavelengths, and the sound itself in the graph, then I need to fill those out. And that's just not true. You don't need to fill those out. You just need to have it so that it's a manageable level. Anything beyond that, you'll start to get clipping issues. It just sounds like crap. I think about like I think Jay-Z went through a period where it just freely clipping the sounds and releasing them as is. This is an example of maybe it's an artistic decision. It probably is an artistic decision, and I'm definitely not one to talk about that because I definitely did not make a lot of money when I was doing that and making these issues. For him, they were artistic decisions. So I'm not one to speak on that. But anyways, those are kind of the notes that I noticed, and I wanted to point out before we did anything to what we have here. Here in the vocal section, we're going to do a little bit of A/B testing just to show you what it sounds like before I add any of the kind of stuff that I do now. I brought it down to bare bones, so you're not going to hear any of that harsh, heavy-handed distortion and compression to achieve a level of being heard. We're just going to do A/B testing of the effects now versus the dry audio from before. So without any effects, here's what it kind of sounds like.
Someone else today makes me wonder why I even try to surprise and impress with these lies I profess. I run your mouth in front.
So that's dry, right? Let's just add what I typically add to vocals now, and let me just break down kind of what we have here. I'll talk about it after we show you the A/B, but this is the with the effects I have now.
And I never want to hear you say, I bet you're gonna find someone else today. Makes me wonder why I even try to surprise and impress with these lies I profess. I run your
So we're gonna go ahead and bypass.
tell me just how hard life is for you, like I just don't understand.
It's a slight difference. It's a slight difference. But what I basically did there, I did several things, and this was more of utility's sake, not for bringing a creative effect to the vocals. We'll get to that for sure. We'll get to that. But what I basically did was add a what's called a de-esser, and then what Reason calls a plosive protection. A de-esser is basically where the volume lowers on the vocals a little bit whenever there's a high T or a high S, like a sibilance, right? And it gets like annoying, and you hear that in the mix and like in the car, and you're like, oh my god, I wish I would have just taken care of that before I mix it down and brought it to the car and all that crap. But I basically did that with the de-esser. The plosive protection, which Reason calls, is the same thing, but it's for the low end, right? I used to record with the microphone at my mouth. And that's why you'll hear like super, super hard, like breathing and all that stuff, and it just sounded terrible. I don't recommend that. The other stuff I did was I added some compression there, my own kind of compression there, and it's light. On the threshold's at like negative 24 dB, and the ratio is at like 14.8. I have it panned to, I don't know, maybe like 10 o'clock and then 2 o'clock. And maybe a little bit left and a little bit more right than that. So that's the compressor set. I do have a maximizer, like a limiter. That way I just have a little bit more flexibility in the volume, the back end of the volume on the vocals, just a little bit more than I normally would. The settings are just neutral, so you're not going to hear anything like if I A/B tested the limiter as is. Like there's no difference in that. So some slight utility kind of things that I've done to the vocals here that give me more control in the things that I would need control in. So that's cool. Yeah, that was the vocals. Let's just start listening to the song. Let's go with the trombone and the sample beat. I have two different drum setups here. One is acoustic, one is a sample. And the first thing that shows up is the sample beat. So let's listen to the trombone and the sample beat. All right, let's bring these up here. trombone sample beats. Let's just break, because I would just want to listen to it. We just want to check out the sounds. We're not trying to like mix at this very second. Let's just press play. I'm gonna bring it up. And you can tell, like I can tell just by hearing it, that it absolutely needs to have some compression added to it to kind of even everything out, because you'll hear like whenever the notes rise or fall, like at the end of those notes, you'll hear like a very quick drop in it. That's kind of how I can tell that it needs compression. So let's take a look at the trombone first, solo that. What I'll probably end up doing is panning it right to about 22, so about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and then the sample beat panning it left to be at about 11 o'clock or so. But we're just going to listen to the trombone for a second and yeah, add some compression. Let me show you what it looks like here if we add compression. So let's go to the trombone. Yeah, literally just that. Okay. All right, what we have here, let's do it with the compression off. And then compression on. Off. On. So you just have a slightly stronger sound, like without having to do much to it. Really, not much at all. And before, we'd have all these screams, and which is the distortion thing, and you'd have all these different effects to really try and fight, literally compete like for the sound and whoever's going to be heard. And we don't operate that way anymore. We do it cleaner. We run things a lot cleaner than before. But that's the compressor on that. I want to take a look at the sample beat. We're just going to add some compression onto that as well. Let's take care of this trombone. I don't want, if you hear that, I don't want to hear the low end of the sample beat as it is, because the truth is that it's going to carry through there, and you'll have the oomph without the low end. And the way that I see it now is when you make a song and you mix it, you want to make it sound like you're getting the most out of it by doing the least amount. And that's kind of what we're doing now. Let's just take a listen to it, see if we want to add it in or take it out. So that's with the drop. Obviously, if you are listening to this with headphones or not headphones, but like on your phone or on your laptop, you're not going to hear what we're talking about, because that you don't hear the low end on those settings. But if you're in the car with the headphones or whatever have you, you're going to hear it. Whereas like otherwise you wouldn't. So dial it back. Yeah, I think it's fine. And if you wanted it there, like that's a heavy drop on the high pass frequency. If you really wanted like that, you could still have it, maybe just tone it down. Like this comes from the hip hop folder, the hip hop section of the sound bank that comes with Reason. And so it's all it just depends on the genre and what you're going for with that. In this setting, yeah, we don't need to worry about getting those low ends necessarily from it, and this is just a decision that you make if you're in that different genre. So I think just toning it down a little bit through the EQ. Yeah, we don't need to do a heavy-handed like high-pass filter. I think that's fine to just do it as as a just a lowering of the lower shelf, or the lower frequency, I should say. All right, what comes next in the song here? Next up we have, it looks like in the middle actually we had the vocals going on. The vocals didn't come in for like 13 bars, so let's plug those in and just listen to that a little bit. Okay. This is where the acoustic drums come in, so let's take a look at that. What stands out there to you? Just, from listen to it a second. Like, what stands out to you in the drums itself? What's the loudest thing that you really notice, right? Yeah, honestly, all of it. But what I want to do, and what I've figured out a while ago, is lower the snares. Lower the snares, and you'll still get that umph. And again, it comes back down to getting the most out of the least. And in this case, lower the snare. It'll interrupt the vocals less because it's not going to be as intrusive in the same frequencies as the vocals. This is typically speaking. It obviously depends on the vocal range of the singer and kind of what notes they're hitting and what they're doing. But you want to lower the snares to still have that oomph from it, but not invade the frequency of the vocals. Vocals are king, especially in singer-songwriter kind of stuff, and I want to make sure that, at least in the stuff that I do, vocals matter a lot because the lyrics matter a lot, so I want those to be heard just fine. So let's go ahead. We have two options here. One is we can literally go into the device itself, and the sound itself, and then lower it manually, just the snare, or we can go into the EQ settings of the output board and lower that range that we'd normally be hitting at. Yeah, let's just focus on doing it from the board itself. I think that'll be a lot less headache. Let's see here. Yeah, the bass drum too, I think I'm going to lower. Yeah, that works. Let's take a look at the sample real quick because I want to see if the drums acoustic and sampled, if I want them to match or not, the volume. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, but what I basically did is I increased the volume of the sample beat a little bit, but the main focus, what I did there is I increased the decibels on the high end and the mid-high end frequencies, just a little bit standing out in the mix with the drums itself. And I might even go back and like turn down the acoustic drums just a little bit more, depending on how I'm feeling. Okay. So that was that. Oh, anything else that I'm looking at? I'm not Okay, piano we need to focus on too. So piano comes into the mix as well. How does this sound? Originally I had the width of the piano, and if we turn it down to where I want it, you still carry the oomph of it. You just don't have this thing trying to fight for lead in the song. Just turn down the volume on the piano too. Okay, I guess that's pretty good. All right, let's take a quick look back at the vocals here, and we have them pretty good. We definitely want them a little louder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start messing with the limiter, the maximizer here, and then try and get the result we want.
And I never want to hear you say that you're gonna find someone else today. It makes me wonder why I even try to surprise and impress with these lies I profess. Run your mouth in front of me. Tell me just how hard life is for you. Like I just don't understand. Like the life I live is pointless to you. Do you like my used car?
I widened the piano a little bit there just to give it more, to fill out more space, to play with the vocals more. And that's kind of, as you go along with this, you make these tweaks. You might say one thing and do another, but what you ultimately want to do is not look at it from a visual standpoint, because it's a song, so you want to listen to it and make your decisions based on two things: one, the sound; two, the gut decision. And that's just from years of doing this and just getting that process down. You'll have your own process. It just takes time.
Said too much, have I gone too far? Do I impress thee? I could tell you right now, it ain't like TV. My heart.
I'm going to mess with the EQ of the vocals actually really quick. I've done this enough, and I've done this for so many years, that for myself, I know what the EQ settings typically are in a song. For myself, it does vary from artist to artist, and I make that call while I'm working with them, and then messing with the sound that they have. But for me, what I typically do is I will drop off the low end. And by the way, as you go through instrumentation, like if you have something like, I don't know, like a trombone, how much of the low end of a trombone do you really need? Let's save that room for other stuff. Another thing I want to point out is there's no bass. There is no bass here at all. Yeah, that was not something that I wanted at the time. Now, I have bass in a bunch of stuff that I do. It's just part of the song when I add instrumentation in. Back then, yeah, it was not even a thing that I wanted. So let's compensate that with the piano. I think we're going to use the bass and the piano, and I'll probably give it a bump there. But we're going to focus on the EQ of the vocals first.
And I never want to hear you say that you're gonna find someone else today. It makes me wonder why I even try to surprise and impress with these lies I profess. Run your mouth in front of me. Tell me just how hard life is for you. Like I just don't understand. Like the life I live is pointless to you.
What I did there is I just lowered the decibels of the high mid frequency range, and all that did was make it sound a little less in your face and a little bit more friendly to the mix. Let's go ahead and increase that bass level of the piano so we can fill that bass in. Turn the bell of it on too. All right, some stuff here is weak sauce, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at the sample beat and the drums. The acoustic don't come in quite yet, but I need something more before they come in. So let's look at the sample beat, and we'll look at actually adding a cool device that I use often, which is called a pulverizer demolition. It's basically like a scream, which is kind of their proprietary distortion effect. A pulverizer squeezes and crunches. So let's take a look at this stuff here. The snare of the sample is pretty strong, and I don't want that. So I'm going to go into the nuts and bolts of this thing. I have two options. One is I could go from the approach of the EQ settings itself on the outboard, but what we're really going to do here, I just want to play around with it a little bit more. And although it takes a little bit more work, you don't have to have other things that encroach in the range of the frequency to be lowered to simply lower whatever is offensive with the specific device. So in other words, we're going to look at this. We're going to solo the sample beat and just take a look and see where the snares actually hit. So I see the first one. We're going to go ahead and drop that from 100 to, take a look at 65. And where are the other snare hits at? Next one here, same thing, 65. All right, cool. All right, that's where we're at. It sounds better. It sounds like the snare's lowered. It's not so bad, and we have more to play with. And so that the snare doesn't stand out more as we squeeze this thing and add some crunch to it. I'm hearing some weird, like super high-end frequency piercing noise from the sample beat. I'm going to go ahead and go to the low-pass frequency and just tone it down so that we still get the same sounds we want without cutting off some of that high-end where we still want it. I guess pretty good there. Okay, cool. I want that trombone to stand out just a little bit more, so we're going to go ahead and increase that. I'm going to do something here where I add a gate effect to the vocals. What I'm doing is I'm just turning it on, and a gate is basically going to take out anything that I don't want in the vocal track itself. So in this instance, back when I was 15 or so, I had a fan with a chain that would click every time it was running. Like a rhythmic click, and I hated it so much. And I didn't know anything about gain, but now that we do know about gain, we're going to make that change. We're going to go ahead and solo the vocals just so we can get a clear understanding of what's actually going on. So.
And I never want to hear you say that you're gonna find someone else today. It makes me wonder why I even try.
So that's before.
To surprise and impress with these lies I profess. Running out in front of me. Just how hard life is for you, like I just don't understand. Like the life I live is pointless to you. But do you like my used car? Ever said too much? Have I gone too far? Do I impress thee?
So you're still going to hear something, unfortunately. But the good thing is that because of the song and the energy of the song, you're not going to have to worry about hearing that sort of thing cut through. You're just not going to hear it. And in addition, like there's enough stuff going on and we've taken out all those like distorting effects and all that crap, so where there's never a point in the song where you're gonna go, oh, what is that? And also, like later on, like in albums that I would come out with, I actually just added stuff that I couldn't avoid. The room that I'd record in, I had a active train track, like mere yards from the window, and I simply kept it in, actually directly recorded the train, so that it was just part of the thing altogether. Like don't fight it. Sometimes the best option is just to use it as you were intending to use it anyways, and just roll that way, because it's a lot easier to fight something when it's easy. But if it's not that easy and it's going to be super in the mix, just roll with it. It just tell people it was an artistic decision. But that's what it is. It's a slight difference on the gate, but it's enough to kind of suppress any kind of sound that we don't want. Okay, let's take a look at where things are at. Probably lower the sample beat a little. Oh, I like that. It adds a bit of punchiness to the mid-low frequency there, so I like that a little bit. It's nice. I want the piano to sound out just a little bit more. Yeah, that vocal is real. Their vocals really need something edgy to help it carry through. Let's see here. What can we do? Yes, we have a couple options. One is we can go the route that we did before, which is basically do a distortion effect. But the distortion effect this time would not be like 4 or 5 simultaneous distortion effects to achieve one goal. We're not going to do that again. So if we do add a distortion effect in that sense with the scream, which is what the proprietary name for the distortion effect here is, we're going to do it as a return effect. That way we have a little bit more control over the dry and wet settings of it. Or we can do direct to the track itself, where it's basically dry or 100%, that sort of thing, or basically 100% or nothing, or period. So let's play around. Let's take a look at what we can do here. Originally, what we had in the returns are 2 reverbs and a distortion. I don't have them attached to anything right now, and I'm not actively using them. What I want to do is just get rid of these all together, and then start from scratch on the return effects there. I'm going to go ahead, drop in from the return effects. We're going to add a scream forward distortion effect. Go back here. And then immediately we're just going to take the level of the effect itself against the track and lower it quite a bit. We can always increase, but we don't want to be so jarring that we kind of lose focus. Let's take a look here.
And I never want to hear you say that you're gonna find someone else today. Makes me wonder why I even try.
I think what I really want to add here as well is a reverb, because if you're noticing, like once I'm not singing or once there's a gap in the words, you really feel that gap. You really feel that loneliness or that void there. So we're gonna go ahead and add a reverb as well. The proprietary name here is RV7000 Mark II, but it's just a reverb, so we'll drop that in. And add that as well. Let's take a listen. Weak sauce. And the tail is too long. I don't like that, so we're going to lower the decay. And I might even actually just choose a different setting for the reverb altogether. So what are we on? Hall. We're going to go with a room. and I'm going to have this be a room roughly in a square of, I don't know, 10.6 meters, something to that effect. And we'll just take a look and see how that sounds.
Run your mouth in front of me. Tell me just how hard life is for you. Like I just don't understand. Like life.
And even then, like, you can tell, like, everything's just drowning out the vocals. And if this happens, I mean, what we can do is two things. One, we can, just go across the board and level every instrument except for the vocals. Or we can combine everything but the vocals into its own bus, create a new output bus there, and then just lower the bus itself. That way we're not, having to go back, and it saves time. It just does, it just saves time. So let's take a look here.
And I never wanna hear you say that you're gonna find someone else today. Makes me wonder why I even try to surprise and impress these lies I profess.
You basically, as a rule of thumb, here's what I do with a reverb on the vocals. You want it to be low enough to where if you hear it with everything, it sounds like there's no reverb at all. But then when you solo the vocals and you listen to it, you still hear the reverb.
Never wanna hear you say that you're gonna find.
It's subtle, it's small, but you can still hear the reverb. And it does those voids within, like, the spaces within the words and the singing doesn't make them really stand out, like where it's like a sore thumb. So that's cool.
Find someone else today. Makes me wonder why I even try to surprise and impress these lies I profess. Run your mouth in front of me.
We're gonna lower the piano.
Tell me just how hard life is for you. Like I just don't understand. Like the life I live is pointless to you. Do you
We're gonna increase the low end of the vocals.
like my used car? Ever said too much? Ever gone too far? Do I impress thee? I can tell you right now it ain't.
Yeah, and they just don't sound like they carry the weight that I want them to. Let's mess with the distortion on it.
Light TV. My heart's an earthquake foundry. And I never wanna hear you say that you're gonna find someone else today. It makes me wonder why I even try to surprise and impress these lies I profess. Run your mouth in front of me. Tell me just how hard life is for you. Like I just don't understand. Like the life I lived is pointless to you. Do you like my used car? Ever said too much? Ever gone too far? Do I impress thee? I can tell you right now it ain't light TV. My heart's an earthquake foundry.
Let's narrow out the the acoustic drums there, because they don't need to. I feel like when you widen something, the more you widen it, you're taking away the magic a little bit, and it becomes obvious that you're trying to compensate for an issue with the sound. So when you narrow things, certain things, it can improve the way that it sits in the mix. There are also strings and mellotron strings that I want to bring out again. So let's take a look here. Where are they? Let's see here. Okay, they don't come in until after the chorus. But oof, and I really bring it there. Okay. Yeah, let's take a look at that.
Open heart, say ah. I'm going all in. Open heart, say ah.
I might add a long tail reverb there just to carry that through. But what I did there was I lowered the attack considerably, and that eased up on the difference in the sudden volume change there.
I'm going all in, open heart, say ah.
Yeah, what I would have done in the mix originally when I recorded the track is I would have really pushed, but I feel like I kind of wussed out a little bit there, and I didn't push my voice enough for the energy of the song. I think it's because I was just afraid of clipping, because I had the settings on the back end such to where if I had pushed too hard, you would just hear it in the mix, and the clipping in the mix and the vocal thing without any kind of effects, without anything additional. And so really it's a testament to really know your gear and really know the settings you're working with, because you can avoid this, and you want to avoid this as early as possible. Everything you do from the ground up at the beginning is going to set the foundation for everything beyond that. And this is just a prime example of it. Is just know your settings. That way you can have output in your voice, in your vocal cords that doesn't spike the mic and sounds great. So I'll have to compensate that somehow by doing some trickery maybe to make it sound like it's giving off more of a vibe than it actually is. But let's listen to the strings.
Open heart, say ah. I'm going all in, open heart, say ah.
What I really want to hear is a much wider sound from the strings. I want to carry a lot more of the harder pans. So what I'm going to do is I have a couple options, but they both basically equate the same thing, which is stereo imaging. I have a different ways of achieving that result. Let's take a look. Before I got my hands on something called Polar Dual Pitch Shifter, what I would have done is I would have used a stereo imager, part of the M-Class proprietary device within reason. But I really feel like the Polar gives a lot more options. So let's play around with that, especially when it's a mellotron. I mean, it's an old instrument. I mean, it's old school. It's the first version of a sampled player. And it's from like the 60s, I think, or something like that. Beatles used it all the time. So, all right, drop that in there. See what it sounds like when we use a widener. We're gonna do let's just play around with this. Let's have fun. Classic stereo spreads. See how it sounds. Do some A/B testing.
Coming out strong, say ah. Yeah, I don't know.
It definitely needs some long tail reverb on the mellotron. So we're going to go ahead and create an additional return effect, add an RV7000 reverb to it, select it here, and just take a listen, see what it sounds like.
Heart, say ah. Open heart, say ah. I'm going all in, open.
Yeah, much better. So what I want to do here, though, is I want to add some compression to it. It's already maxed out at the compression at the module level. If I wanted to add more of it, what I would do is probably just add its own pulverizer and then squash it just a little bit. See what it sounds like here.
Open heart, say ah. I'm going all in. Open heart, say ah. Coming out strong, say ah.
One thing I might do, and I do this for other songs that I've done in the past, but basically I will add a brick wall effect where you just get like you basically have it so that the ratio of the delay is like super tight, and then only have it bounce once. That way it just sounds like you're singing to a brick wall kind of thing. So I might do that, but let's keep going. Let's see what's going on here.
Yeah, I know.
The drums are pretty dry sounding. I want more of a room sound to them. Let's take a look at what we're working with here. Okay, so we're looking here. We have overhead and we have ambience. Ambience is pretty maxed out. I'm tempted to simply add in the updated version of whatever the old version is here that I've used, just so I have more control over the sound itself. But basically what I need is I need more of a room mic sound. And I'm just not getting that here. I'm getting a strong ambience mic, but it just, there's no room. You know, there's ambience and there's room and all that, but this is a little different. Like, if you can hear that, like, it's just not sitting there too well. Let's listen to it with a no ambience mic. There we go, just have a redlining. But also what I want to do here is I'm going to add a compressor to it. So we can get things kind of squashed in a little bit more. So I have two options. One is the pulverizer, or the other one is a simple compressor. Let's, whatever. Let's try with the pulverizers, see what that sounds like. Yeah, that sweet spot is just so very specific spot here. It's hard for me to kind of pinpoint into. Let me go with a typical compressor. Take a look here. Okay, cool. I don't know, kind of sounds like crap. I'm not gonna lie. Let me take a second. I'm just gonna go ahead and add the updated version. And you might notice, you'll go through this, you'll be like, oh, this sounds great, and then come back to it like an hour later, a day later, listen to it and say, wow, this sounds like crap. And honestly, I mean, it might be the case. Who knows? But I'm really hoping that it already sounds a lot better than what it was originally. And I know that factually. So how bad can an updated sound now be? First draft, let's go. So we're going to go ahead, go to instruments, scroll down to Reason Drum Kits, is what it literally is called, which was what the sound bank it was called, the old school sound bank. And all we're doing here is we're going to go ahead, take a look at the instruments, the specific kick, the specific snare, the specific tom, and see what the models were, and then just plug those into the new module. For the bass drum, we have a Y9, I think it's a Yamaha 9000 kind of thing, 20 by 16. So we have a kick is already set that as the setup there. Snare, LS1, 4 times 6.5 snare. And then some verbiage here they just don't include in the new version, so that's fine. Because honestly, like, if we could find a better snare, or we could find a better drum kit sounds, then we'll just do that. Much better to just do that. We're doing a total revamp. This is not just some remastering. We're going all in to make it sound much better. So, I mean, for now, what I might as well do is just drop in one of these preset kind of choices here. And that would be, I'm going to go with a rock, I'm going to go with Auto Carla, and then we'll just go from there. So in the acoustic drums, we're just selecting everything, grid, and dragging it down to the new thing.
My heart's an earthquake foundry.
But even without doing anything, it just already sounds so much better. Okay. And it's pretty repetitive throughout. Doing it now, if I wrote the song now, I make a lot of different changes. Like, I mean, top line stuff that would take a lot more time that I want to invest in this. I want to revamp up to that point. I don't want to have to like mess with the keyboard and like add whole new phrases to instrumentation. I just want to bring it down to this level, a level just beyond mastering and just doing a whole new mix and all that good stuff. Yeah, that steel drum is it's a personal favorite these days. But what I will do is kind of what I did before is lower the snare on it. This gives us a lot more freedom to do that here. Go to here, lower it there. Yeah, that works. You almost want the vocals to be like carried away by the sound without being drowned out by the sound. Like that's the difference. Like there are different levels of quality in the vocals as far as how it plays with the mix. The worst version is probably just karaoke. It sounds like it's not even supposed to be there. It sits there awkwardly. It's just kind of there. It's like, okay. Next, you have something where it's there and it's layered, but man, it still doesn't quite sit well. It's still kind of awkward there. The next is you're matching it with a very finesse approach where you just have slight tweaks here and there of reverb and distortion and all that, and it sounds like it should be there. And honestly, you can mask. I feel like you can mask that a little bit as far as skill. You can mask if you're not quite there in skill with the vocal mixing. Just go completely left field and bring a strong effect to the vocals that sounds too cool that you wouldn't even care anymore. The whole thing about like having an idea in your head and having it out in the real world, you're just trying to be as hands-off as possible, because every little thing you do is going to be a diminishment of what you want to begin with. So let's keep going here.
Tell me what you want me to say.
It's a little bit of a mid-tail reverb on the sample beat.
Or tell me what you want me to do. Speak tongues like it's over now.
I want to bring more room with the piano. Let's take a look at that. At close in front. So yeah, it was set up to fail to begin with. I'm going to go ahead and change the setting on this piano thing. I'm going to go with close and ambient studio mix. And then what I'll do is I'll lower the close mic considerably. That way the ambient mic can stand out a little bit more. And it definitely needs more compression. I want heavy compression on this thing. So we're gonna bring it way the hell up.
And I never wanna hear you say that you're gonna find someone else today. It makes me wonder why I even try to surprise and impress with these lies I profess. Run your mouth in front of me. Tell me just how hard life is for you. Like I just don't understand. Like the life I lived is pointless to you. Do you like my used car? Ever said too much? Ever gone too far? Do I impress thee? I can tell you right now it ain't like TV. My heart's an earthquake foundry.
I want a much higher hi-hat. Not like super high, but just certainly higher. Kick, we might want to just lower a bit because, in this, it's the overall sound, and the kick just will be drowned out anyway, so let's just lower that thing. I need edgier vocals, so I'm going to go ahead and take a look here. What I'm probably going to do is add an effect directly to the instrumentation itself. We're going to take a look at something called Automatic Retro Transformer. It's pretty cool. I like it. It's an awesome thing. Sort of the version of like an audio version of like Instagram filters. So let's take a look at this.
And I never wanna hear you lie. I'd rather leave first than be denied. The kind of guy that comes out strong. I'm going all in, open hearts. Yeah. I'm going all in, open hearts. Yeah. I'm coming out strong, saying and I never wanna hear you lie. I'd rather leave first than be denied. And I got that comes out strong. I'm all in the heart, say ah. Open heart, say ah. I'm going all in. Open heart, say ah.
Kind of hear the clicking of the fan in the background. Like I said, the chain that was attached to it just kind of smacking against the metal every time it was running. Yeah, I'm not happy about that. I'm going to do a scream directly to it, a distortion directly to it, and play around with it.
And I never want to hear you lie. I'd rather leave first than be denied. The kind of guy that comes out strong. I'm going all in. Open heart, say ah.
See, and that's getting closer to it. You want to rough it up. You want to dirty it up because it's a heavy song.
And I never want to hear you say that you're gonna find someone else today. It makes me wonder why I even try to surprise and impress with these lies I profess. Run your mouth in front of me. Tell me just how hard life is for you. Like I just don't understand. Like the life I lived is pointless to you. Do you like my used car? Ever said too much? Ever gone too far? Do I impress thee? I could tell you right now it ain't like TV. My heart's an earthquake foundry.
Let's take a look at the bass drum. Maybe I was wrong about that. Let's play around with that a little bit. Yeah, I was wrong. We want it stronger. Matter of fact, I think I want the snare stronger as well, because what happens is we're not exactly seeing the snare interject with the vocals when it's not necessary, because like here's the acoustic set that we have in question. Everything after the verse, like the actual words, like everything else that isn't like it's stuff that we wouldn't want mixed in with it. But because it's happening when we just have those kind of ahs, who cares? It's fine. We want something interesting to happen during that time. So.
Earthquake foundry.
Just lowering the pitch on the snare there, I think makes a difference. Yeah, that synth we definitely want to increase. Let's go back here. I think in addition what I want to do is I want to add a chorus to it or a flange or something. I know that it already has one, but it just isn't strong enough to the level that I want. I'm going to play around and actually just add like a whole new thing, a whole new module for it. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's cool. I think the trombone should definitely have some of that mid-tail reverb.
And I never wanna hear you lie. I'd rather leave first than be denied. The kind of guy that comes on strong. I'm going all in, open heart, say ah.
I'm going to actually have that scream destruction thing not be a direct input. Let's go ahead and take that out of the module itself. And how is it playing out here? Okay, I had the scream that the distortion already in there is already on the vocals, so let's mess with the settings on that one actually. So I had fuzz. I had it going on a fuzz setting.
Open heart, say ah. I'm going all in, open heart, say ah.
And I need even more of a squeeze, so I'm going to go ahead. Compressor here is fine, and I probably will leave it, but I'm going to add a pulverizer on this too, and then see what that sounds like.
And I never wanna hear you lie. I'd rather leave first than be denied. The kind of guy that comes on strong.
Yeah, that's what we're going for here.
I'm going all in, open heart, say ah. Open heart, say ah. I'm going all in, open heart, say ah. I'm coming out strong, say ah. Yeah, no, no. The kind of guy that comes on strong. I'm going all in, open heart.
Like I'm talking about, like, the kind of guy that comes on strong, and I think I want to reflect that actually in the music itself. When it comes to clients that I work with, I'm listening to not only what they want to do with the instrumentation of the song with the notes and all that, I'm also looking for the words that are being said because I want that to reflect in the music itself.
Say ah, open heart, say ah, I'm going all in. Open heart, say ah, I'm coming out strong, say ah, yeah, no.
And right here, I would have a killer fill right there to lead into the whole banging of a mess there. And then I'm hearing like crunching from the audio itself. Oh, Trevor, what's this about? Let's solo this. Yeah, that sounds terrible. I'm not even going to worry about that. I think it's actually it's outside of the threshold for the gain to grab it. So I'm going to go ahead and just mute it here in the sequencer itself. Yeah, that's fine. And then we'll right there. Okay, cool. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, cool. All right. Let's take a look at the master effects on the drums. Okay. I need that sample drum to have more of a crunch.
Tell me what you want me to
But I don't think that's the way to go. I'm going to actually do it direct. Hang on.
say. Tell me what you want me to do. Speak tongues like it's over now. Get loud when you shoulder now. Get down when I disavow. And disarm myself. I beat back from my guard down. Play fair when I come around. I'm a tourist in a ghost town. I'm a tourist in a ghost town. I'm a tourist in a ghost town. I'm a tourist in a ghost town.
You can hear there, like, I made a couple of artistic choices with the vocal track there. I'm just going to solo that so I can show you. Listen to the end where I'm not singing anymore. I do two things. I leave in the clicking of the fan and the clicking of the mouse as I end the recording. No need to have that stuff there. Let me go ahead and take that out. What I'll do is I'll just do a fade out there. Okay, cool. Fine. That works just fine. Okay. I'm not even gonna, like, I think, like, it makes more sense to not have any reverb on the trombone, just because if you add reverb, it's trying to make it sound like it's a bigger thing than it is, and it's not. Like, it's secondary. It's just gonna sound like it's there. So whatever.
And I never want to hear you say.
All right, and then we're gonna go ahead just a little bit. I'm gonna lower the low pass frequency there.
I bet you're gonna find someone else.
And then in addition, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, because I heard that gaff just like the end. I hear it there. So let me go ahead and trim that out. Hang on one second. Yeah, no need to have that audible. So we're just going to make it super simple. Just do a fade in there. Yeah, that'll be fine.
And I never want to hear you say that you're gonna find someone else today. It makes me wonder why I even try to surprise and impress with these lies I profess. Run your mouth in front of me. Tell me just how hard life is for you. Like I just don't understand. The life I lived is pointless to you. Do you like my used car? Have I said too much? Have I gone too far? Do I impress thee? I can tell you right now it ain't live TV. My heart's an earthquake foundry.
And that's sort of a little thing there. That's a little hiccup from Reason, I think, and mixing it down. So let's see here.
TV. My heart's an earthquake foundry.
Yeah, right there. Okay, cool. Take that out there. I got nothing. It's just a void here, so we'll just play it safe. Put it there, and then just chop that out.
I can tell you right now it ain't live TV. My heart's It's an earthquake foundry.
I have a maxed crazy compression on that trombone, but I still don't feel like it's crushed or squashed enough. So I'm going to do a pulverizer on this, see what it sounds like.
And I never want to hear you lie. I'd rather leave first than be denied. The kind of guy that comes out strong. I'm going all in. Open heart, say ah. Open heart, say ah. I'm going all in. Open heart, say ah. I'm coming out strong, say ah. Yeah, I know. Tell me what you want me to say. Tell me what you want me to do. Speak tongues like it's over now. I get loud when you fill the town. I get down when I disavow. And disarm myself. I beat bash with my guard down. Play fair when I come around. I'm a tourist in a ghost town. I'm a tourist in a ghost town. I'm a tourist in a ghost town. I'm a tourist in a ghost town.
Okay. All right. I think it sounds. It's at a point where I think it sounds pretty good, and I'm ready to kind of sample it in the car after I've given it enough time to not listen to any other music, just literally do anything but music, and just step away for a while, come back with fresh ears, and listen to what it sounds like. So what I'm going to do now is kind of what I always do right at the end of the rough draft is I'm going to go up to the top here, kind of where the effects are. I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to listen to the mix and kind of pan through the mid side and see what setting there I like. Let's start with that.
And I never want to hear you say that you're gonna find someone else today. It makes me wonder why even.
It's subtle in this case. You're not really going to hear too much of a difference in the mid side, but or it's the fact that I have it bypassed. Let's unbypass that, huh? All right, let's take a listen to it. Way louder than I need to be. Let's tone down the out gain. Okay. And then we're also going to check the meter, make sure we're not going to run in the red accidentally. That you do want to kind of eye a little bit.
And I never want to hear you say that you're gonna find someone else today. It makes me wonder why I even try to surprise enough.
And then you kind of want to judge kind of where in the song it's loud. And I know that right now this is not the most energy that the song gets. The energy from the song is actually going to come in later on. So right now we'll take a look at the waveform later on, see what that gap looks like. But we're okay for now. We're okay.
Tell me just how hard life is for you, like I just don't understand. Like the life I lived is pointless to you. Do you like my used car? Ever said too much? Ever gone too far? Do I impress thee? Quick foundry.
I'm wanting something from the piano, sort of the mid-low range. Let me see if I can give it a sharp bump in that area, see if that makes a difference, and see if I can achieve what I'm trying to get at. So we'll go to the equalizer.
Foundry.
Yeah, that'll fit it just nice. Okay.
Earthquake foundry.
Okay, and now before I do anything else, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that final piece of the mix that I do. Let's see here. We're going to go to an EQ. We're going to equalizer this part. I want to make sure that it sits for the whole thing. Go up here. Equalizer. Cool. Okay. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to increase on the high end and increase on the low end. The reason I do this is because whenever, like without fail, whenever I listen to a song in the car to judge it, to see what I can improve on and all that, and I'm messing with the settings in the car itself, as far as the EQ and all that, every single time, if I don't do this, I'm going to do it later, which is increase, bump up the high end, and bump up the low end. You'll see the difference. I'll give you an A/B test on that. Hang on one sec. So not that. We're going to go with this. I like a little bit more of a curve, so I'm going to go ahead, max the frequency out, just increase the gain, but mess with the Q, right there, and maybe draw back on just I don't want to see the other side of that hill. I just something like that. And then do the same thing with the other parameter. Just draw it back, and then try to mimic that right side. Okay, let's do some A/B testing here. I'll start with it off, and let's hear it on. Here we go. It's a slight difference, but it makes a huge difference. It's a slight change. It makes a huge difference to me, anyways. So that sounds pretty good to me. Maybe tone back on the synth a little bit as far as the reverb. Okay. I think the hi-hat might be just a tad. Back on the hi-hat. There we go. I think we're at the point now where that, if you remember, we lowered the attack. It's kind of biting us in the butt because I do want this part to stand out a little bit more. So let's go ahead and ease up on that attack. Just extend it, and we'll see what happens here.
Never wanna hear you lie. Say all in, open heart, say ah.
All right, so I got the attack maxed out, and I'm still. I almost want like a little bit more of a grit here, specifically when I'm at this part where I'm going ah. I want a little bit more there, maybe.
Open heart, say ah.
I don't know if that's it. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and just neutralize the attack here. Just have it at 50 milliseconds, and then what I might do here is go and create a return effect, and then have it tied to that specific part. Just something to give it a little bit more expansiveness. And what I might do here is an echo that brick wall effect I was talking about before. Let's see what that does, and we'll kind of manually tweak it and then automate that so that it happens only when that occurs. All right, so here I have it on the effect. Again, like I talked about, we're basically bringing the feedback down to 0, maybe just a little bit, like 4%, 7%. But the timing, I'm going to have it at about 132, 1/32. Let's see what that looks like.
Strong, I'm going all in, open heart, say ah.
Yeah, it makes a difference for sure.
Open heart, say ah. I'm going all in, open heart, say ah. I'm coming out strong, say ah. Yeah, I know.
The next thing I notice here is that when this part's playing out, you don't really hear the ahs too much, which, I don't know, we don't really want it to be heard too much, but we definitely don't want it to be that low. So let's just increase it from the point of the sequencer. And that's not making much of a difference there. Let's just reset that, and then what we might do is mess around with the levels on the track itself from the point of the outboard. Okay. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, and I just that area that I want to do that to. So I have two options. One, I can kind of make that faux pas mistake that I did back, some odd years ago, or I can just go up to the gain and do it there if I can achieve that result. You know what? Old habits die hard. Let's go ahead and we're just gonna do it from here. Because I'm pretty satisfied. I don't jump around with the vocals too much, volume wise. I just it achieves the goal just fine.
Tell me what you want me to say. Tell me what you want me to do. Speak tongues like it's over now. I get loud when you feel the now. I get down when I disavow. And disarm myself. I beat last when my guard is down. Play fair when I come around. I'm a tourist in a ghost town. I'm a tourist in a ghost town. I'm a tourist in a ghost town. Hey, tell me what you want me to do. Speak tongues like it's over now. I get loud when there's over now. I get down when I disavow. And disarm myself. I beat dash with my guard down. Play fair when I come around. I'm a tourist in a ghost town. I'm a tourist in a ghost town. I'm a tourist in a ghost town.
There's more of that clicking there that we've been hearing before. Let me just take that out.
I'm a tourist in a ghost town.
Oh, how I've improved. Okay.
I'm a tourist in a ghost town. I'm a tourist in a ghost town.
I think I'm gonna stretch, do a time stretch here, because I think it ends too short there. So let's go ahead and extend the sequencer here, and we'll just it's arbitrary. So delete there, and then just extend this like there. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. There's a final click there that I heard. Let me see if I can chop that out. Right about there. That's okay. Well. Yeah, that's fine. It really isn't that big of a deal. Okay. And then I just remembered that I do want to do some pitch correction here. So let me go ahead and do that. Yep, all the way to the back. And let's zoom out here, make it a little easier for ourselves. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and, because it's not, there's the option to just unmute here, and just straight up delete those things actually. So gone, and gone, or go. All right, let's go ahead and get into the nuts and bolts of it. We're gonna go to pitch edit here, and you obviously use whatever you have that comes with the program. Here it's literally just called pitch edit. So here we go. And this could take some time. I mean, because I manually go through and make sure that each sentence sounds good to go. I don't just do a blanket thing and hope for the best. But we're gonna select everything and just hit correct. See what happens.
And I never want to hear you say that you're gonna find someone else today. It makes me wonder why I even try to surprise and impress with these lies I profess. Run your mouth in front of me. Tell me just
Actually, it didn't sound too bad.
how hard life is for you. Like I just don't understand. Like the life I lived is pointless to you. Do you like my used car? Ever said too much? Ever gone too far? Do I impress thee? I could tell you right now it ain't like TV. My heart's an earthquake foundry.
That sounds pretty good. Okay, let's go to the next part.
And I never wanna hear you lie.
Okay, let's take a look here. I'm immediately hearing something I want to fix.
And I never And I never wanna hear you.
Yeah, okay, cool. We're going to go ahead and bring this down. Correct again.
And I never wanna hear you lie.
Yeah, but... Okay, let's hear that.
You lie.
Yeah, that's fine. It goes a little out of control here, so let's tone it in a little bit here.
You lie. I'd rather leave.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I'd rather leave first and be denied. The kind of got be denied.
It dips down there. Let's
Denied. The kind of be denied. The kind of guy that comes up.
and I want that fluctuation better here. It's not clean.
The kind guy. The kind of guy that comes on strong. I'm going all in. Open hearts. Open hearts. Open hearts. Open hearts say ah. Open hearts say
This is what I'm talking about, like getting meticulous and making sure that you're not just doing a blanket thing and then calling it a day. You do want to give it a little bit of tweaks here and there. That way it doesn't sound completely just ridiculous. So, yeah, let's keep going.
open hearts say ah. Say ah. I'm going all in. Open hearts say ah. Hearts say ah.
Yeah, just get familiar with the tools that you do use. Like, get really familiar with that stuff. And then you can the changes that you need to make without, like, wasting a lot of time just floundering and not really knowing what you're doing. Like, just know the tools you're using.
Open hearts say ah. Ah.
And see how I'm just sounding a little bit better than that 15-year-old self. Just a little bit. Whatever I can do to give that kid a bump.
Coming on strong say ah. Coming on strong say ah. Yeah, no, no.
I like that kind of bottoming out sound from the sample pack or the sample drums. I wanted something there that wasn't going to just sound like it was just flat and lifeless. I needed character, so I'm glad that it's there.
Tell me what you want. Tell me what you want me to say. Tell me what you want me. Tell me what you want me to do. Speak tongues like it's over now. I get loud when speak tongues. Speak tongues like it's over. Speak tongues feels like it's over now. I get loud when you show the town. I get down when I disavow and disarm myself. I beat best with my guard down. Play fair when I come around. Play fair. Play fair when I come around. I'm a toast and it goes down. I'm a toast and it goes down. I'm a tourist and it goes down. I'm a tourist and it goes down.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Okay, cool. Well, that's basically it. That's the rough draft. I'm going to go ahead and save it here. Make sure you're saving your work often. You never know when you're going to have a computer crash or something like that. And trust me when I say it will ruin your day. Okay. Well, yeah. I'm thinking about the song and what it's about. I was not great with girls when I was a kid. And this was just my way of expressing that. Just a 15-year-old me just trying to figure stuff out. But anyways, that is Little Plastic Stars, Dating is Hard. I'm going to go ahead, mix it down, and I'm going to do a follow-up video maybe just to see kind of how it sounds and then make any kind of additional tweaks that I need to and just share that with you. But in the meantime, keep doing what you're doing. I really believe in you, and I know that you're going to do great things. And however I can help you, however I can be there for you, give me a shout out, Trevor at aroundthepitchbend.com. At aroundthepitchbend.com is the website. Just reach out to me. Let me know what I can do for you, and I just want to be there in your corner. All right, until then, have a great one. Bye-bye.